Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. There's been a ton of news recently about Kevin O'Leary and his involvement in FTX. Even more recently than that though, we've had news that CZ is calling Kevin O'Leary a liar. Let's dig into what Kevin O'Leary is really saying about his investment in FTX, why CZ is calling him a liar, and finally, is it safe to believe either one of these guys? Well, let's get into it. So let's start with Kevin. He's been telling anyone that will listen that he lost $15 million in the FTX collapse. And I guess from his perspective, that could be true, but let's get some details on that. When pressed by CNBC if this was $15 million that he invested or money that he was paid in order to be a spokesperson for FTX, he reluctantly said it was not an investment by him. This $15 million loss that Kevin has been telling everyone about is not his own money. It's the money he got from being a spokesperson for FTX. So what does that mean? Well, he didn't take any of his hard-earned money and put it in FTX. He just took the money that they gave for him being a spokesperson and put that in FTX and had to keep it there, I assume based on his contract. So when he's saying that he lost $15 million and lost all of this money just like everyone else, that's not really true. Most people put their hard-earned money into that account and ended up losing it. That's not how it happened with Kevin. So is he really telling the truth? Well, I'll let you decide that. Now, what is really troublesome for me to hear is that Kevin is saying he can sleep just fine at night because he didn't convince anyone to invest in FTX. And I'm not really sure what he means by that. He was literally paid by FTX in order to be a paid spokesperson to get people to invest with them. So I'm not really sure what he means. He's out there telling everyone that he's invested in FTX and that he has a ton of money in them. Well, that's going to make others invest in FTX because he's a well-known financial person. His financial personality draws people's attention, and he was literally paid to do that. So I'm not really sure what he means like that, and maybe there will be some clarity in the coming days, but it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Let me know what you think in the comments, if that really makes sense to you, and if he was promoting FTX and convinced others to invest in it. Now, let's get into what's happening with CZ. CZ is the CEO of Binance, a direct competitor of FTX, and it's been stated, but not yet confirmed, that Binance was going to get its stake out of FTX, and that's what's caused its collapse. Sam Bankman-Fried was paying CZ and Binance $2.1 billion so they could end their relationship. And just a few months ago, CZ said that they had about $500 million left in FTT tokens. And when they tried to pull all of that out, it seemed like that's what caused the collapse of FTX. But that has not yet been definitely confirmed. A lot of news places are saying that, but I haven't seen anything that gave a hard fact from like internal auditors or John J. Ray III or anything like that. So that's still a little bit up in the air. Anyways, something else that's really interesting is that Kevin O'Leary said he's going to personally go after CZ because he called him a liar. Well, we're going to get into more of that in a second, so just hold that thought. This is where things get interesting. Kevin wants to find out what's happened to his money. If you listen to his interviews with CNBC, you'll find that out pretty quickly. He says it pretty explicitly. But what really shocks me is he doesn't sound very interested in finding anybody else's money. He's only interested in finding out the money that was gifted to him by FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried. He has a personal connection with SBF and really wants to find out where his money is. He's even called him about it. So that's a very interesting perspective, and I can see why CZ is going after Kevin here. Because it seems like Kevin is really worried about himself and his gifted money and not worried about the everyday investors that put their money into FTX because Kevin told them it was a smart investment. So throughout this entire feud with CZ and Kevin, we have to figure out what's really going on. CZ called Kevin a liar and Kevin is going after CZ now. So let's start with, is Kevin really a liar? Well, he promoted FTX, said that he invested money in them, but really never did. He just took the money that he was paid by them and kept it in there, which was probably in the contract. So, is he lying? I wouldn't say he's necessarily lying, but he's not really being forthcoming with the truth and being upfront with the people he promoted FTX to. Finally, does Kevin's claims of going after CZ make sense? Well, there's two things here. Let's start with Binance closing last week. So they halted withdrawals for a couple days last week, and that's something that I think Kevin could get investigators to look into. And that's because CZ has been pretty apparent about keeping a 1-to-1 cash to crypto ratio at Binance. So I think Kevin could work with investigators to try and find out if that's really happening. So that's one way he could go after CZ. Another thing is Kevin has stated multiple times that Binance got rid of their FTT tokens, and that's what's caused FTX to go bankrupt. And Kevin is making it sound like he wants the SEC and other investigating parties to go after Binance and CZ to see if that's really true. Now, I can't find anything that says that that's necessarily illegal. And in my opinion, and again, I'm not an attorney, but if you don't believe in a company anymore, is it illegal to get rid of your shares? But if you guys know something different, make sure to leave it in the comments below. At the end of the day, FTX was going to run out of money because they were running a Ponzi scheme. So unless Binance is doing the same thing and using investors' money to cover their bills, it's just not looking good for Kevin's plan to go after CZ. But we'll see what happens. They could be doing the same thing. There's not a lot of regulation around cryptocurrency, and a lot of the people that are auditing these funds don't really understand it. So we'll see what happens. CZ has been pretty adamant about saying that they've been using their revenue from the transaction and exchange fees to make all of their purchases and to use all of their money for that. But I don't know exactly what's happening. And as more investigations come into light, I'm sure we'll find out more about what's happening at Binance and with CZ. At the end of the day, Binance has not filed for bankruptcy, and CZ has stated multiple times that they don't have a liquidity problem. So I don't know what exactly Kevin's going to pin down on CZ and Binance, but we're going to learn more about it in the coming days. Make sure you leave a comment below if you think Kevin has any basis for going after CZ and whether it really makes sense for him to pinpoint all of his anger and frustration on one person. He promoted a bad product and took money from a very bad company, a Ponzi scheme. I think he's just frustrated and trying to take his anger out on something that doesn't really make sense. Let me know what you think in the comments though. I'll be sure to keep you guys updated on what's going on with FTX, Binance, Kevin O'Leary, and the whole crypto market. So if you guys enjoy this type of content, make sure you hit the like button. If you enjoy this channel and think you might want to be a part of it, please subscribe. Anything else, please leave in the comments. Happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, I'll catch you in the next one.